And over the last few weeks, you've saw me try a bunch of different red-black aggro lists, and every one of them I've complained about having like the Ifnirs in the main deck and the Duresses and stuff in the sideboard. Just none of them ever felt right. This entire time, I've only wanted to play Scrap Heaps only as the black cards. Absolutely in love with Killing Phoenixes. Anyway, this week, John Rolfe posted a Star City article. It's actually a pretty good write-up. Pretty good write-up. He's got the build he played at the Grand Prix. He's got this build, which he suggests going forward. In the article, he actually says it's not a good time for these red aggro decks, which he's probably right, but we don't actually care if we win here. We just want to play some games. And he's got a sideboard guide and everything listed, and like some explanations of why he's running certain cards and like what cards you might want to change for different metagames. But in general, it's like a really good written article, and because it was such a well-written article, I decided we needed to get a couple reps in with the deck. The guy's done very well in Magic, but especially with this type of deck over the past year. Hey, Mr. Fox, you never did send me a link to your updated deck. You said you'd found the original 60, but I don't know what 60 you mean. Hey, JJ, how are you doing today? Sorry for the late start. I got carried away watching Misplaced Ginger and kind of forgot that I was supposed to be streaming. Which especially sucks because my Cavaliers come on at 10:30 tonight, so I have to miss a Cavs game. And by miss a Cavs game, I mean I'll just watch the replay, but I'm sure somebody will spoil the results for me and aggravate me beyond belief. Anyway, this hand's pretty reasonable. Obviously, hope they're playing the control build of the deck and not the mid-range build of the deck. Wouldn't mind to hit a land or two. Wouldn't mind for him to not have a removal spell. All these things would be nice. But our hand's very strong. They say that these blue-black decks actually beat red deck wins. I have no idea whether that's true or not, but I guess we're going to find out the hard way. Yeah, I don't know how you do it with the hours you have to put in at work and then like watching the streams and stuff too. You're a juggernaut. I don't think I'm going to play around Censor because I don't want to play around it next turn as well. So I'd rather just go ahead and throw the Cropper out here and hope that they don't have it. But like I'm definitely wanting to play Killing Phoenix on 4, so I don't think there's any reason to play around Censor this turn. If they did have a Censor, I would rather them cast it on this card than this card. Like I'd much rather them get it out of their hand before we try to bring Tweety Bird down. I'm going to refer to this as Tweety Bird from now on. He's tapping 4 mana in his main phase. He might be working on killing the Beaumont here. That'd be kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting as well. Actually, we have a real decision now then, don't we? Huh. We're at real decision o'clock, aren't we? Is 4 cards better than a Phoenix? Probably. I feel like 4 cards is better than a Phoenix. But if 4 cards was better than a Phoenix, I should have played this, so since I already made the 1 error, do I just make another? They didn't use Essence Scatter last turn, so they probably don't have an Essence Scatter in their hand. Or they probably drew it that turn. Or, I don't know. Or maybe I'm just really bad and this is now going to get Vraska's Contempt and we're just going to lose very easily. The correct play this turn was probably to play Firebrand and attack with all 3. Like, I probably punted that pretty hard. Yeah, I feel like I just punted that very, very hard. Yeah, I do not like how I played that turn, now that I think about it more. We had a very good hand, and we lost very easily. Sadly, we can never look at these cards to see how impactful that was, but that had to be a play mistake. Could have added more damage to the board that turn and just drawn cards, and the Phoenix wasn't likely to resolve. Actually, I thought there was a good chance the Phoenix would resolve. Well, there was a real good chance that the Phoenix would resolve. They have a Gearhulk, we probably are dead, right? Like, block one of these, go to 15. They took a random pause there, so it feels like they kind of have to have Gearhulk. That just makes no sense. Took an extra point of damage for no reason. I guess if they brick off, we could draw like a hazard or something and win. That's not bricking off. Drawing land 7's not drawing hazard either. I don't think we could win now. They'd have to draw like 4 lands in a row maybe, and then I don't think we would even win because of the Azcanta. Alright. Land 8's not going to do it. No, we don't want junky cards like this. Lightning strikes in general are kind of bad. So we don't want the burn spells. You have to be for Scarab God. You have to come in versus all of these matches as well, I imagine. There's just no way that we're not bringing in these. Is Pia better than Cropper or Crasher? Not actually sure. I don't know if I want 2 of these and 2 of these, or just like all 3 of the hasty guys. I think I want all 3 of the hasty guys. Like the cards I'm debating right now, I'm debating these 4 cards, which 2 did I want in the main deck. I'm not 100% sure. Like the haste is pretty relevant. The exert on this is pretty relevant, but like the Pia is pretty good as well. Pia can actually win games, and it's 2 threats that they have to answer. So with the exception of Golden Demise, it takes a minimum of 2 cards. Assuming that they're not counterspelling it, of course. I'll try 1 and 1. I'm going to try this mix, because I do think I want some Crashers. I'm not bringing in the Braze. The Braze are only good versus like their 6 mana spells, and I'm just not worried about their 6 mana spells. If they get to that stage of the game, they're probably going to beat us anyway. I'll have to mulligan, and this hand's just not playable. I guess we're just dead. Can't go to 5 when you have 2 creatures in your hand, but like these 2 creatures are just not going to win this match. Going to 5's not going to win this match either. So there's a good chance we punted game 1, and then we just like mulliganed and didn't get to play game 2. That's fine. It's kind of a bad way to start off the league, but like I kind of deserve it because I'm pretty sure I just punted game 1. Opponent still has 7 cards in his hand. We have effectively 1 in our hand, and the one we have is not even good, so... It's potential that I should have played that pre-combat to try to get a... He might not have essence scattered it, being afraid of a Beaumont or something. Eh. Yeah. So they have 7 cards, we have no cards. I agree with you, Matt, but we won't for the stream. I mean, there's always a chance that he's got like as weak a draw as us, right? Like, what if he just has as many lands as we do? I mean, he's not so far, but like, what if he did? Well, if he just had like 6 lands in his hand, then I guess we'd have some chance. Maybe we just draw like 3 hazards in a row and he doesn't have a creature. That's something that could work. But I mean, the odds are incredibly stacked in his favor. It would take an actual statistical miracle. I think they have Scarab God in their hand already, because that was kind of an awkward pause. Guess I should play around Supreme Will. I've saw some builds that have Supreme Will. I don't think this match is all that bad for us. I still think we're a slight favorite, but I mean, you saw the hand that we had, and like I potentially just punted game 1, so still not exactly sure if I punted game 1 because the Phoenix is like the card we would have wanted to draw, and we already just had the Phoenix. Huh? Well, maybe these cards are bad. Top, bottom, so that's a bad sign. That's probably don't put many cards on the top right now that aren't removal or Gear Hulk. And if it's Gear Hulk, we have no out. We just have 0 outs if it's Gear Hulk, but we still have to attack. Like maybe it's not, maybe it was just another Glimmer. If they cast Gear Hulk, we'll probably pick up our cards. Alright, I guess we'll sit here a little longer then. Guess I'm going to go ahead and play this. Again, it plays around a Supreme Will that I don't think is very likely to even be in their deck, but there's a non-zero chance that it is, so might as well play it. Second Glimmer, that's super bad. Bottom, so at least that was something. Could potentially like draw a Blasting Cannon maybe. We've done more damage to him this game than I expected to do. I imagine we're just getting Gear Hulked here. Like he fought too long to not get rid of this, so like basically has to have a Gear Hulk. Yeah, that was a pretty easy read. Like, now he'll kill this and he'll block this. Oh wow, he's killing this and gonna block this, I guess. Well, we get another card this way. Don't know if this other card does anything. Maybe if it's the blasting cannon, it does something. Oh no! I accidentally pressed F2 because the game lagged. That wasn't a play mistake. That was definitely just lag. I pressed F2 when I was in this phase right here on my screen. If it counts, it probably doesn't matter, but it's still a mistake. Yeah, I definitely pressed F2 when I was in this phase, and it wouldn't let me press F6 or F3 or whatever. Who knows, though, it could have worked out better. Kind of frustrating, though. Just, I guess they have Fatal Push, because that's just odd. Makes our second Pia better. Feels like opponent has a moment of craving in their hand. Yeah, Sean, we mulliganed into an unplayable hand after I potentially punted game one. Oh, was this Scarab? Alright, we're done here. Yeah, still not sure about that game one. 4 cards under Beaumont's a lot, but like, we have a lot of bad cards in the match and we already had a Phoenix in our hand. But yeah, I probably should have used the Beaumont instead of the Phoenix. That was probably a trash can of a play. I don't know how much mana he had up, though. If he had disallow mana up, I definitely probably did the right thing. Yeah, I very likely did the right thing if he had disallow mana up. Well, this match is incredibly hard, and again, we have basically another unplayable hand. We have a bunch of lands and a bunch of 4-drops and a card that doesn't block. Like, these hands are just atrocious tonight. Ha! You do nothing! Killing Phoenix is very good. Like, if we were on to play, maybe. This hand's bad enough we could get there with this stuff. Doesn't do anything, so we'll just play the one that attacks for the most. Moment of Craving? Alright, so they're not mono black aggro, they're more brewish, I guess. Guess we have a chance versus that. Or at least more of a chance. Hopefully they don't have an answer to Pretty Phoenix when we slam it. Because our life total is still relatively high here. Looks like their hand's pretty weak. So it's seeming like we have a chance. Even if this hazard, it's looking closer and closer to like it's never going to do the business. Go Go Speed Phoenix. And by Speed Phoenix, I mean Go Go Roadblock Phoenix. So we need a 1-drop next turn, like a shock would be fantastic. Even if they have a contempt for this, this doesn't attack, so... Like, if we did get to shock, we'd be in a reasonable position. There's a good chance he doesn't have contempt in the main deck, though. If he's got a way to attack this into here, we could have to worry about Fatal Push, and we'd probably still just block to get this off the table. Yeah, they're done. A lot of aggro decks can't beat Pretty Bird, which is something we found out last night when we were playing that blue-green deck. I think you sideboard this similarly to how you would be sideboarding versus mono red. Definitely want these. Oh god, I gotta go. You pretty much just want everything in here that costs less than 3 or less mana. Cards that aren't good. Crashers probably aren't good. These things can't block. Glorybringer or not. Oh, you are the question, oh Glorybringer. If I took Glorybringer out, or if I put Glorybringer in, I'd probably be putting it in over a Hazard. They have access to both Harvesters and Heart of Kieran, so like maybe the Glorybringer's just not good. Yeah. Nobody's talking very much tonight. This hand's a keep. Pretty clear keep, and a mulligan, so... We have 4 semi-removal spells in our hand. 2 of them that can go get some. Oh. Don't take that. Get out of this deck. You leave our pirate alone. Our pirate never did nothing to nobody. Oh, pirate my pirate. Sorry about that. I yawned. I don't know if I hit the mute button in the time. Wonder if he's like physically writing the cards down and not realizing that they're going to be right here. The fourth land we needed at some point, just hopefully not this. I think Sean's selling the stuff he bought at Black Friday. $37 years ago, Sean will sell his cards. I kind of don't want to kill this. Like, I kind of just want to shock it and use this. I'm not going to, but like, not killing or not saving the braid for a harvester could just be real wrong. Hey James, what is up? Yeah, I'm in a league at the moment. Round 2. Got smashed round 1. Up a game currently. MTGO bot's currently down. Unfortunately. Stream Decker's down as well. Nice. Good luck. Hope it goes well for you. Yeah, drawing these lands after we kept our opening hand was not what we wanted. Just a casual 3 lands in a row. Right, we need one of our good spells. That's one of our good spells. It may even be our best spell. I'm starting to think this card's just better than Hazoret. Hazoret gives you more 3 wins probably, but I think this card might be better overall. So that's just lose a life. That's lose a life and gain a life. So we'll go ahead and pop it now in case he has unnatural stamina. And then we're just going to attack. See if we can race this, but it's going to depend a lot upon his hand and a lot upon what we've drawn. But if I'm not mistaken, so far this game, I think we've drawn 4 lands and 1 spell. So hopefully we're in a groove to start hitting some spells. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at our opponent over there, and he's hitting 2 lands. So like, he obviously wants to hit the opposite of that. He wants to just hit lands so he can deploy his hand. The statement about how I think Rekindling Phoenix is better than Hazoret. Sorry, there's a chat delay, but is that what we're talking about? Basically, I just think Rekindling Phoenix plays exceptionally good defense in this format, and I think there's a lot of decks that highly struggle to beat it. Whereas the Hazoret doesn't play defense as well. It's not as good on turn 4 because, like, a lot of these decks are getting big enough now to where like your hands aren't discarded enough on turn 4, so it feels like more a 4-drop or a 5-drop or a 6-drop at this point. Sorry, it feels more like a 5-drop or a 6-drop now than it does a 4-drop. Sorry, I don't talk very well, but that's basically what I was trying to say. And when you're investing more mana into it, obviously, like I said, it still gives you a lot of free wins, but when you're investing more mana into it, it just seems like it's a worse card overall. Whereas, like, Rekindling Phoenix is almost always good on 4. Like, there's just so many decks that the Rekindling Phoenix just... Like, Vraska's Contempt's one of the only things in the format that's really great versus Phoenix, and, like, is equally as great versus Hazoret, and you don't have to put work into Phoenix being good. Phoenix is a better defensive card by a lot, I think. I feel like this format's... I feel like you just want to be kind of defensive in this format. Phoenix already costs more than Hazoret. At least I'm pretty sure that it does. I'll pop this up. Let's confirm my math. I'm pretty sure it's still more than Hazoret. Yeah, Hazoret's like $19 in paper, $11 online. Obviously, you can get a couple dollars off that. You know, if you do aggressive shopping or whatever. Or Killing Phoenix is going to be like 20 and 28 or something. Oh, it's up to 30 online. It's up to 30 online now. Yeah. Like you can get a little bit cheaper, you know, like I think I sold my Phoenixes for 28, but yeah, overall like Phoenix is better in multiples too. Like drawing 2 Hazards isn't particularly good, but drawing two Phoenixes is great. Things like that's why I'm starting to think Hazard's a little bit better of a card. Hey Dong, thank you so much for the 8 bits. So I know I'm babbling a little bit and not really saying my points, but like Phoenix is better in multiples. I think Phoenix is better on turn 4 on average. I think Phoenix is better on both offense, or it's worse on offense, but like a little or like a lot better on defense. I think the evasion on Phoenix seems like it's particularly useful right now. Like Hazard's not a bad card. I'm not saying Hazard's bad. I think those cards are both exceptionally good. I just think Phoenix might be slightly better. Like this game right here, like it's going to be probably very hard for us to attack with this on turn 4. So it's going to be like a 5-drop probably if we hit our lands. Whereas like this can come down on turn 4 and then this comes down on turn 5 and it seems like kind of good together. Like there's quite a few matches like tokens as well, to where you just like would sideboard out Hazard, so that just like makes Phoenix a little bit better in those matches. There's a lot of Vraska's Contempts running around as well, and like a lot of like Whirler Virtuoso tokens and things like that. So I think this match is pretty hard. I generally feel like it's whoever is on the play first has the higher chance to win this match. That's assuming that both players draw lands. If we don't draw lands and they draw lands, they're just going to run over us. But that's pretty easy to figure out. Like, that's not rocket science. So he about has to have a removal spell here. There's no way he didn't keep a Kenra, a Merfolk, or a removal spell hand. There's just way too many 1 and 2 drops in this deck for him not to have had any of them. Yeah, okay, so he had to braid. Hopefully he doesn't have a second, but again, I think it's pretty unreasonable that he didn't have a second. Or, I think it's pretty unreasonable that he wouldn't have a second. I think it's just like, pretty much almost telegraphed that he's going to have a second removal spell here. Maybe not. It kind of feels like he pressed F6. Wow. He kept one play for 4 turns. He might have had like a couple Jade Light Rangers or something and just not had the come into play tap mana. That's something that can happen too. But like this is kind of like what I was saying. Like these Hazards just don't often attack on turn 4 anymore. Even if you take like 2 of the Swelter the Sun's main deck. Alright, so our opponent's playing something that I did not think our opponent was playing. Scrap Heap does more damage than Kenra, so I guess we just pass. This lets us hold up Shock too, in case he does play like a Jade Light. Ha ha ha. Brutalized. So our opponent's definitely playing something that we did not expect. I saw somebody get paired versus this deck the other day, and I don't understand why you would play this deck as opposed to the ones with black mana. I don't think the red cards are good enough. I think Mastermind's very good. Oh, we hit a land here, so I guess we're just going to attack with the Phoenix. When I used this Shock, I had planned on playing the Earthshaker Kenra and attacking for 5, but I think I would rather just put the Phoenix on the table. I don't actually know what's in these green-red Hour to Promise decks. Have No idea. I think they have like Sandworm Convergence or something, or whatever it's called, like the big enchantment. But other than that, I don't actually know what they have, so I don't know how to best attack the board. But if they do play the 8 mana enchantment, like, we're just dead, right? Like, we're not going to beat that this game. Just tapped a bunch of mana, so it's an invocation. Sure. Again, I still don't really know what their end game is. So this is kind of awkward. If we don't play the Hazard at this turn, it probably doesn't get to attack next turn. I guess we're fine with that, since I think there's a bunch of sweepers in his deck anyway. Sweeper plus Scavenging Grounds is really good. He could just not have anything, though. He's only got one card in his hand. Like, it doesn't have to be a great spell. These decks do play a lot of lands. If it's not a great spell, we're probably a favorite. Well, he tapped his mana makes me think he's using a Scavenging Grounds. So, like, that's probably a really good sign for us. Yep. It's what it felt like he was doing based on how he tapped his lands. How crazy am I now that I'm trying to read my opponent based on his land drops? Or not his land drops, but how he taps lands on Moto. Makes me feel like I've lost my mind if I'm actually trying to figure out what people played by how they're tapping their lands. This is 13 damage, which is pretty good. Again, I don't really know what their kill condition is, but I know they need something. So if they don't show me how they're going to kill me, it makes it real hard for me to sideboard since I really don't know what they're doing. At least playing a land. Oh, could be an approach deck. They showed me a plains. Is this just approach? Tapped a green mana first. I don't think this is just approach. What did they hit? They hit a treasure map, Zakama. What's the other side of this? Other side of that 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they can play that as well. Wait. Why didn't that work? Oh, so when you cast a spell from your hand. Okay, we Gucci. I didn't actually realize Sunbird Invocation said from your hand. Alright, so we had nothing to fear but fear itself. Alright, so we've solved Zakama now. And like we could, if we see this and this, maybe we can think about that it could be approach. No idea what I want to sideboard here. I think I want to be as threat dense as possible, so I think I want cards like this in here. Probably want these. I have no idea. I've not saw it. I think I want this stuff. Just based on what I saw, I feel like I just want to be really threat dense. The Direfleet Daredevils aren't particularly good, but they can pull out like a Spring to Mine out of their deck, which seems okay to me. They have a ton of sweepers, so I think Pia's just, and not a lot of spot removal, so I think Pia's just worse than like Crasher. So if I'm choosing between this and this, I probably want that. Ephro posted the list. I have no idea what it is. I'm not going to go look it up. I don't know, maybe I could. How much do I care about winning? I'm going to say I care about winning about none. think we're just going to submit this and go on about our day. To click or not to click? Really don't know what's in this deck. I would have assumed it was just a bunch of sweepers. Oh, apparently it's not. Apparently it's got Carnage Tyrants and Ripjaw Raptors and all sorts of goodies. Ah, could have sideboarded incessively wrong then. Yep, probably sideboarded very wrong. How the hell do you sideboard versus this deck? I have Death Gorge Scavengers and Raging Raptors, so it makes me feel like I need some removal. Alright, well, I'm gonna keep this hand. What do I want? I don't think I want anything. Maybe the Effort Spear Harvester's in. Go Beaumont Courier. You're our favorite Beaumont. I'd love to see no red mana here because I really want to play just double 2-drop next turn. And I have a Ripjaw Raptor. Alright, so we're just very close to dead, I guess. I don't know how we beat that, especially if like the little dude's playing. If they played this on 2, they may not have another land. Well, they probably don't have another land. They probably have to hit it. Because playing this on 2 makes no sense. Oh, never mind. They had it. They had it all alone. Well, that feels good. Does that just mean he has Hours of Devastation or something? This card's pretty good versus these decks. Especially when we're a little short on lands. This is a play mistake. Never do this as an instant. Well, okay, if it's in a braid, it's okay because he can do the sacrifice artifact part of it. But for the most part, you just never want to do that as an instant. There's a Ripjaw Raptor. The Artifact Aggro deck was pretty good, I thought, when we played it. Guess I'm just playing this stuff and ticking this up. Wonder if it's ever right to tick it up and just sack both Beaumonts. Alright, don't care about that. Pretty much only care about trying to save the Chandra at the moment. Gonna block with the Firebrand and then tap it and deal 1 to him. That way he doesn't get to draw a card. Down to 12, we are, what the kids like to say, doing it. Kind of didn't want to put this in my graveyard. I thought this was pretty good here. Well, this makes things worse for us. What ways do they have to gain life other than gift? This free life from gift this game is going to be so relevant because I think we could kill 9 easily with our hand. I think it's going to be a lot harder to kill the number that is higher than 9. Well, he's got scavenging grounds in play. There's no guarantee that we were ever going to bring the stuff back from the graveyard. Should I bring it back from the graveyard this turn? So, what am I thinking about this turn? I'm thinking about just randomly minusing on one of these, but that's probably not good. Think I'm... So minusing gets in 3 damage this turn, but our Chandra dies. We get a 3rd card under Beaumont. Which doesn't feel very good. We do have another Chandra in our hand, but it still doesn't feel very good. I don't think I want to throw the Chandra away. Problem is we can't really defend the Chandra without sacking the Beaumont. I'm just going to take the Chandra up for mana and go for the 4/4. Could be the last turn that we get to do this game, so... I think my hand is better than my Beaumont Courier. So I don't think I'm going to block. If he wants to chump, that gives us a lot of options for the following turn. It's kind of telling. I think he has this as a common in his hand. So we can block the Ripjaw Raptor if we want and sack. She puts an Earthshaker in our graveyard. Oh, never mind. Alright, so the Chandra's definitely dead. And if the Chandra's definitely dead, I'd rather have my hand. Wow. Is either A, not killing Chandra, or B, has Hours of Devastation. I'm not sure which. Whichever one of those is the true answer, I'm pretty darn happy. Do you have another burn spell, friend? Friendo, do you have another burn spell? Oh, friendo. El Friendaruski? Can you kill me, friend? Opponent says no. Alright. I wish that deck was really good because I think I have 8 Zakamas on eBay that just need to sell. Need to get these out of here. Who's in the 8 Zakama market? Competitive prices. Give anybody in chat 10% off. El Competitive Pricerino. Yeah, I have 8. I actually have no idea what it is. I have no idea what my eBay is. I know that sounds silly, but I made it in 1998, and I don't remember. Like, they've changed it a million times, so I don't actually know how it sets anymore. Apparently, it's General 19. There's actually not much on it, though. And I was just joking. I'm not trying to peddle my eBay stuff to chat. Alright, we're going to keep this hand. This hand's great. This hand's definitely great. We're just going to have to hope it gets there. Go, go, Beaumont Courier. Do your currying things. Not playing around censor because screw the police. Don't really care if he censors my Embalm and or Eternalize cards. Now, I'd rather try to get a censor out of his hand before we play our 3s and our 4 drops, because I don't want to try to play those off curve. Stop moving my stuff, Moto. Come on, dog. On the positive note is, if he doesn't kill Beaumont Courier this turn, we don't really have any decisions. It's going to be an easy sack. Supreme Will. I told you earlier when I was playing around Supreme Will that some of these decks play them. Yeah, I mostly sell playsets because it's cheaper on the shipping, though. Those mythics aren't really selling, so it's feeling a lot like Christmas. Nah, it's feeling like I'm going to have to break them up. I didn't really want to play Hazard this turn. I think it's just too easy for him to have a removal spell here. Or like a counter spell. Of course, maybe I'm supposed to play it. Yeah, Chimeras went down a lot. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with this Hazoret. I wanted to play it that turn, but then if he just kills Beaumont, like counterspells it and kills Beaumont, like I'm a sad panda as they come sad. Alright, well this worked out a lot better for us. Because now we don't care if he counterspells it and or kills it. Our Beaumont gets to do our Beaumont things. Wonder why it wouldn't let you offer that low. I actually sold a set of Golden Guardians. Don't you make fun of those? Don't you dare make fun of those Golden Guardians. I definitely sold a playset of those. So I'm worried about this Beaumont getting disallowed, which is the reason I'm not using it right now. Just want to keep trugging down this alley. Like the first turn he can't disallow us when we'll sack it. Man, why would you sell them to page 3 for bulk when you can literally get like $1.70 off eBay for them and it takes 20 seconds to package them? Like, we're just like low-key doing things, right? Like, we've never put this Beaumont in harm's way, and we're just like literally just adding more and more and more to the board, and like he has to react to this stuff. It does take work. It does take materials. You leave our Beaumont alone, friendo. Alright. Alright, well, we're definitely taking our cards with this Beaumont now. I don't think it's a risk. Casually draw 7. 1 mana, draw 7. We Gucci. No! Don't play Veraska. Okay, that's not Veraska. Alright, what are we going to do now? We're just going to play this thing to start. This thing the second. This thing the third. Actually going to shoot that and just attack his face. Not worried about the Liliana. He doesn't really have anything else in his graveyard as of yet anyway. Got you a good deal on some penny sleeves, Rob. Like 60 cents a pack. 65 cents a pack. I've changed my price, because screw you. Well, this kind of sucks. I thought we were doing it, but like now this thing kind of has to resolve or we're not doing it. That thing did in fact resolve though, so back to doing it. It says destroy all non-zombros. I think I'm just going to attack his face then. If he wants to kill his own Liliana, we'll figure out how to win. I will pass on that. Oh, we got crushed. Crushed, I say. We could have played around that card, but I didn't think it was real likely that he had it. So. Boom, boom, boom. No. There's more faces to attack. This time, I think I am just going to attack his face. And I'm just going to attack them all again. If he happens to have another moment of craving, we get to resolve a Kindling Phoenix. And that's fine. Alright, so I think I'm going to sideboard again, just how I did the last time versus Blueback. Want to be, as they say in the big leagues, as threat dense as possible. And I think we were deciding to try 1 Pia over this. I don't know about these puncturing blows. They just seem still kind of awkward to me. They're like good versus Scarab, which can definitely run away with a game. But I don't know overall. Oh. Couldn't figure out what we did wrong. So we hadn't pulled that last shock over. Rob offering me below cost prices. The game was a lot closer than I thought it was, considering we drew 7 off of a Beaumont, and like they weren't a bad 7, they were a good 7. Oh, it's a tap land. That means we at least get to do this filthy 1 point of prettiness. Go Beaumont Courier. Get us a card. Yeah, I told Matt this morning that Muldrifter told me he was going to get to 18 tonight, but I don't think Matt believed me. Hand's good, bad? I don't really know what to say about our hand. I have a lot of good spells, but it depends on how it's going to line up versus our opponent, how good of the spells are. Another really good spell. It's probably more likely for them to have an Essence Scatter than anything else, so I'm probably going to get Jiminy Jamity with the Chandra. Oh, well, never mind. I guess I'm going to play whichever one he leaves us with. Whichever one he wants us to have between the Chandra and the Phoenix is the one that we're going to play. I assume he takes Chandra? But that's just an assumption without any knowledge of his hand. Like, obviously his hand changes that. Oh, he took Hazoret. That's interesting to me. I think I'd rather just play this one. It's the one that if we get high enough, we might be able to win the game with. Could just be a multiple contempt hand again, I guess. No. But it stops Scarab God. It's for Scarab Gods. It stops the Scarab God from coming back from the graveyard. It doesn't get around indestructible though. So we put on bottom, and he's having a think. Bottom top. So that's probably not a great sign for us, especially since we drew 2 lands, and he drew or played a. We drew 2 lands, and then he drew 2 lands, but he had a Glimmer. So this is a pretty bad sign. We have effectively 0 cards in our hand again, and opponent has 4+. Just going to play this thing. Actually not going to attack with it. I feel like I'm pretty close to dead anyway, so if he has a Torrential Gearhulk or whatever, I'm just going to Firebrand and Punch Ring blow it. Okay, so we got 4 damage out of it. I'm assuming based on this that he still just has the Gearhulk. He just wants to do it at the end of the turn now, so we can't do this. So like maybe I shouldn't have played this pre-combat. But we got 4 damage that we shouldn't have got, so it might have actually been better to play it pre-combat. Guess I shouldn't press F6. He could have a Fatal Push or something. Then a nasty Fanatical Firebrand would have to go hit some heads. Now, Doomfall is actually very good versus this game, and I think it's actually pretty bad in the matchup overall. So I'm a little sad about that. I was feeling real confident there for a second. Do you have Negate, or do you just not care? You could just have double Scarab, I guess. What a cute card. It's hard to win this race. Alright, well, we did everything we could. If he's got another Gearhulk, we're just dead, and we accept that. If he doesn't have another Gearhulk, who knows? Ooh, so maybe we do need some burn spells. I didn't have to play this land. I could have held it for Hazoret. Alright. I guess I won't concede. We could still just draw like running 4 drops or something, but probably not. What do we do versus a bunch of gifted Efferborns? Alright, now we're dead. I don't think Efferborns are particularly good in that deck. I think Kingpin's considerably better. Either of them would have killed us in that spot, but... I think maybe I want you then? I just really don't want removal spells. Removal spells are such bad draws. No, I'm just gonna leave it how we've got it, I think. I don't really want to braid. Like, I'm not super concerned about killing their creatures that don't have lifelink. I'm only worried about Efferborn because it has lifelink. I think between Daredevils and Puncturing Blows, I'm just fine with this. Oh, this hand is trash, but I don't think you can mulligan it. I just lose to blue-black twice tonight. Maybe I could have sideboarded some of these out because we've not saw a Glint Siphoner yet. Really have to draw a 2-drop. That's not a 2-drop. They often sideboard out a lot of their counter spells. I guess I shouldn't press F6. He could Fatal Push this at the wrong time. If it resolves, I'm already trying to think about it. I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to try to resolve next turn. The Chandra's the best play. It's definitely Chandra. Solved. Just draw a second Chandra, so it's just like easily Chandra, right? Yeah, a lot of them play between like 0 and 2 right now. I think I'd still probably be on the 3 or 4 plan, but what do I know? A lot of them are moving away from the Glimmers right now as well, which I am not okay with. Kind of interesting. Alright, so... I think I'm going to start with an attack. I think I'm going to start with picking this up. Scrap Heap Scrounger? Is that good enough? Probably good enough, right? I think blue-black control loses to blue-black mid-range, and blue-black mid-range might be the most popular deck in the format. Also, don't think it's particularly good versus red. I think they might have built it now to where it's like a slight favorite, but like it's like really bad versus the other decks now. I don't know. It's a fine deck. It's a tier 1 deck. It may be the best deck, but I think it's got a lot more awkward matches than it used to. I'm playing Vis now because I'm hoping to be able to pull Vis out of his graveyard before he can Gear Hulk into killing Vis. Like, I know that we can't actually play the Vraska's Contempt, but I don't want him to be able to Gear Hulk it. So I'm literally just playing that to exile a card from his graveyard. And that gives him a lot of different things he has to answer now with a much more limited set of mana. Yep, and he scoops to it because he doesn't have enough mana to get it all. Could have had Golden Demise there, but like I don't think Golden Demise is actually very good versus the red decks. Like, you don't get this type of draw particularly often, and even if he did have Golden Demise, there was a pretty good chance that we could just win with Hazoret. Yeah. Anyway, 3-1. It's kind of an interesting match. I think Blue Black Control is pretty good, but I just don't think it's well positioned in the meta if like there's a considerable amount of strong players playing the Blue Black mid range decks or the Blue Black chart decks. Like I think those decks are like a little bit of a dog game one, like maybe even 10%, but I think they're a pretty significant favorite game 2 and 3. I think all the gold wide strategies, like just every single one of the wide aggressive decks, green white aggro, white blue SRAM, mono white ascend, like all of those decks are good versus the blue black mid range deck. And yeah, you can customize your deck. You know, you can add a couple extra golden demises for this match, a couple extra essence scatters for that match, and so on and so on. But like, you can't be good versus all of the decks. I think the blue-black mid-range or blue-black chart, whatever you want to call it, I think it has a little bit better way to customize and be a little bit stronger versus a field. But that's just my opinion. I mean, you guys know that I've not played the deck. From the outside looking in, you see almost all of my matches streamed, so that is pure speculation. And every time that you like customize your quote-unquote blue-black control deck to like beat like the blue-black mid-range deck or the you know, or like say you want to customize it to be a little bit better versus the white aggressive decks and so on and so on. With each one of those things that you change to improve those matches, you make your mirror matches even worse. Which is like a pretty big concern for me. Because if the deck is the best deck in the format, then you have to worry about the mirrors, right? So we're not really set up for the mirror very much. If you wanted to beat the semi-mirrors, you'd be taking out a bunch of cards like that new desert. What's that new desert called that people are playing? The one that gives like -1/-1s? You would want more cards like that. So we're like really far behind this game. I don't even know what we can do to catch up. We're kind of like a 4-turn clock. We can't block, he can block. He's ahead on mana. He's not used any of his removal spells. Like, all things point to him being very far ahead. Yeah, Grasping Dunes. That card's pretty good. Oh, he's got a Pia as well. Well, that's not a very good sign for us. Just gonna attack with both. Kinda hope he blocks here. The interesting block of the two. That's the one that I wouldn't be able to block back. Still really far behind, taking a minimum of 1 point of damage this turn, potentially taking more. Oh, he's got a Crasher too. Alright, well, we have no out now. Again, the red deck that was on the play easily wins, which is one of the reasons that I also dislike red decks. I think all of these cards are pretty bad versus the red decks, and we're going to want all of our removal spells, which would be these. Basically, you want everything that's below 3 mana. Trying to get to be a little bit more defensive while still having like a pretty aggressive plan. The Direfleet Daredevils are really good with any of the random burn spells if they get to a graveyard, and at worst case scenario, it's a 2/1 first strike blocker. Pias and Harvesters are the cards that we're most looking for drawing in this match, and then the first person to resolve a relevant 4-drop's probably just going to win, assuming like both draws are marginally equal. But yeah, I hate mirrors. I hate the red mirrors. don't think I changed anything from the play to the draw in this match either. But as you can see, our builds, we got the scrap heaps, we've got the puncturing blows, got this the blasting cannon and 3 Chandras. Like, we're set up more to beat control decks. Why do they need to be puncturing blows? Alright, this hand's not good, but it is a keep. Like, puncturing blows still bad versus Hazoret. That's a bad sign. Oh, terrible sign. 5th land. It doesn't kill Hazoret. It doesn't beat Indestructible. If it beat Indestructible, we'd probably sideboard it in. It is good versus Rekindling Phoenix, though. It's just not good versus the other. It is very good versus Rekindling Phoenix. I'm not sure that's enough of a reason to have it in the deck. Kinda hope he kills this, so we can get some value out of this. Oh, so our opponent even has Chandra's defeats. So that just kind of lets you know how far we are behind, matchup-wise. Don't have any Magma Sprays or anything. Alright, well, if we hit one of our 4-drops next turn, we have a reasonable chance. Especially because he missed a mana. Yeah, our glory would be... We would bring in our glory if we had them. We definitely would be bringing in our glory if we had them. Yeah, one time Hazoret. So go ahead and block here. Fine with it. He can force that whenever he wants, so I don't think there's any real reason for us to potentially not force it. Slightly ahead on board, but he still has 3 cards in hand, and where he missed a land drop, we know all 3 of them are relevant spells. So all he has to do is hit mana, and he's probably going to be like going 4-drop a clock on us. Potentially. Yeah. Just going to attack with them all. I don't care which one he blocks. Like, we're definitely sacrificing this turn, and I think there's a higher likelihood that he's going to block this. Yeah. I think there was a good likelihood he was just going to block that. Alright, well, like I said at the beginning of the game, whoever plays the first 4-drop is probably the person that's going to win this match. And our opponent played 2 4-drops. We're not just dead, though. We could still just, like, draw a 4-drop and be fine. That, my friends, is not a 4-drop, but it is a good spell in this spot. I think we're still going to attack here. Still don't think there's any reason to try to play defense. We're just going to die if we play defense. And if we attack, like, maybe his hand's bad. Alright, well, his hand just certainly wasn't bad then, was it? What's the chances that he has a 2-mana removal spell? Alright, well, we stole that game. We had to attack because we wasn't going to win playing defense at 5 life. Alright, well, we stole a game that we had absolutely no business of stealing. All we had to do was leave this untapped and we wouldn't have won that game. But we'll take our win when we can get it. Unfortunately, like I said, we're still a major dog in the matchup. So, like, even though that we got the 3 win, or we got the accidental win, because of the very, very lucky top deck, like, we're still not a favorite to win game 3. He showed us Chandra's defeat, so I'm certainly not bringing in the Glorybringer or the Chandra's. The draw, I do kind of like Puncturing Blow a little bit more because we're not the aggressor, but I don't really have anything to take out. Just for Scarab God. And Rekindling Phoenix. Like, you can bring it in versus the red-green monsters decks and hit, like, Rekindling Phoenixes or Kenras in tight spots, but it's primarily just for Scarab God. If Scarab God wasn't in the format, we would not go to Puncturing Blow. But this deck's really good at, like, forcing people to play a unprotected Scarab God. Like, it's really good at, like, just making them play that turn 5 or 6 Scarab God or whatever that they can't protect, and then, like, punching in for the win. But yeah, we're definitely set up to try to beat aggro decks, or sorry, control decks, you know, mid-range decks, etc. So opponent DC'd. Maybe he had to go. Who knows? Maybe he didn't have enough time to play the rest of that game right. He just had to hope he won. Nope, opponent's back. I find it interesting now that when I'm chatting with somebody, you guys can't see it. Okay, this hand is a keep, but it's like... This hand's a keep, but it's like clearly not any good, right? Like, we can't mulligan. Can't agree with you more. I would love that card not to be a card. Well, we hit our first real spell. So we at least got that going for us. We do get the first attack in as well. Ooh, we had a Harvester. Those are fun. We took the aggression away. Like, the hand's going out very well. Just have to hope that this Rekindling Phoenix is good enough. I think the exact opposite, James. I think it tends to lead to more blowout games and games where you have to think much less. I don't mind to put this Earthshaker Kenra in my graveyard here. Like, I actually value his Beaumont pretty highly, so I kind of want him to block. Rekindling Phoenix, you say, friendo? Yeah, we will also play Rekindling Phoenix, and we're going to attack with our dude. He's just going to block and attack, and I'm fine with that. I just want to lock up at least 3 points of life because we can't block on our turn anyway. There's just like too many things he can do that makes it bad for us to try to block. So, like, I actively want him to attack. I just want that 6 point life swing. They have a hazard at 2. That's a bad sign. That's a very bad sign. So we're going to need to draw a creature desperately. Desperately going to need to draw a creature. That's not a creature. But that kind of changed, or kind of ruined all of my plans, didn't it? I don't have any good attacks or blocks anymore? Karizev, that's good here. Just everything they have feels good here. I almost feel like I have to block. So don't see how we win if I don't block. Kind of weird that they didn't use scavenging grounds, to me. Makes me feel like they have some kind of removal spell here. This is a pretty important attack. It's gotta be a braid if it is a removal spell. Oh, it was absolutely nothing. Wow. So only got one card in hand. I don't know what beats us then. That doesn't do it. I mean, that probably kills us, but that didn't quote-unquote kill us, you know? Another creature. That was a great draw. I think it's a terrible sideboard card. I really get a little frustrated when I think people actively play the match wrong and win. Like, if you have Chandra's Defeat in your deck, how can you ever want to put a 5-mana sorcery speed removal spell in your deck? Just doesn't seem particularly good, but that's fine. Anyway, let's open our treasure chest. And what do we open? Pyromancer Goggles. I'm absolutely sure that's worth about a quarter. And by a quarter, I mean not even a penny, probably. Alright, well, anyway. Let's review the deck a little bit, I guess. The deck felt pretty good. It did everything that we wanted it to do. It seemed fine versus the mid-range decks, which was the goal of running this 75 as opposed to, like, a very different 75. Yeah, we made like a quarter or whatever. It's worth 25 cents or 30 cents or something. Who knows? We're always going to be weak versus the red decks with this build, but like I don't think you can build a red deck that is both strong versus the mirror matches and strong versus the blue-black base decks. So I always feel like you have to pick one or the other. And right now, I would just rather be stronger versus the blue-black decks, and I think this deck's pretty reasonable versus them. Definitely should have sold the chest. But we're below 6,000 play points again, so we have to open chests until we get 6,000 play points. Yeah, we're below 6,000 play points again, so we have to keep opening chests for now. Yeah, I like the deck. The deck felt pretty strong. Wonder if you could put like 1 or 2 magma sprays over 1 or 2 of these shocks. That's about the only thing I think I would really want to try. I'm pretty pleased with this build of the deck. I think if I did run this deck again, I would try some mix, maybe 3 shocks, 1 spray, or maybe 2 and 2. But the deck felt pretty strong. Like I said, I'm pretty overall pleased about the deck. It did what we wanted it to do. We got paired versus a red deck and lost, which, you know, as I said before we started match 1 would probably happen. And we did lose versus one blue-black control deck, but we mulliganed into Oblivion and had like a fairly unplayable hand, and we think we punted the other game. And the other blue-black player we got paired versus, we beat pretty easily, but like, their game 1 draw was pretty good, but their game 2 draw wasn't very good, so I think that's just part of Magic. But yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you like what you're watching, keep in mind that you can, you know, follow the links down below the stream and like find the other places where I post things. But we're going to get out of here, and we're going to go watch the replay of the Cavaliers game tonight, and hopefully we're not going to be mired in sadness. Hopefully the Cavaliers did not get crushed. But who knows? Maybe they did. That would be sad. Who all is streaming that I can host? Aggro Fiends on Modern. Brad Carpenter's on Modern. Looks like Sparrows on Cube. Oh, Buttons. We can host Buttons. Buttons is playing Aggro, or sorry, Monsters. Wait, what do you mean it isn't open? Over. What I mess up on? Hey, Boot, what's up, man? It's definitely over. I'm not exactly sure what we're talking about, but the stream's over. If that's what we're talking about, the stream is in fact over. Oh, the Cavs game isn't over. So you're saying I have to wait a few minutes. Okay, yeah. So you're saying I have to wait a little while before I turn the replay on. I get what you're saying. I understand now, yeah. Well, that sucks. Yeah, you missed. But anyway, I will get out of here, and I guess I'm going to go make a sandwich and stuff, and then look for a replay of my Cavs. Take care, everybody. And again, thank you all so very much. Thank you, Zinky, for giving me the heads up that the game was still live. That means I have to avoid Twitter and Facebook for a little bit longer, so I highly appreciate that.